He's about to give us a cue right here.
We're live.
I was born for this moment. I was put on earth for this time. I was born for this moment. I came here to shine. No one said it would be easy. No one said it'd be this hard. No one said it would be easy. No one said it'd be this hard. I'm gonna let my light shine. I'm gonna let my light shine. I'm gonna let my light shine. This is a time, this is a place. Are you ready for some divine grace? This is a time, this is a place. Are you ready for your own loving embrace? Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. We were born for this moment. We were put on earth for this time. We were born for this moment. We came here to shine. No one said it would be easy. No one said it'd be this hard. We're gonna let our light shine. We're gonna let our light shine. We're gonna let our light shine. This is a time, this is a place. Are you ready for some divine grace? This is a time, this is a place. Are you ready for your own loving embrace? Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. I was born for this moment. We were born for this moment. Thanks, Lee.
This is Lauren Grace, everybody. Please welcome her. Thanks, Lauren.
Good morning. Thank you.
Are you guys doing another one, or was that it?
That's our opener. Now,
You can keep going.
Keep going. We're here for the show. We're here for the show.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you. I want to welcome you all here today, and especially want to welcome our guest artist this morning, Lauren Grace, coming up from San Diego.
Lovely to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we have the British invasion this morning. We have Lee from Australia, and we have Lauren from England.
Yeah.
Where in England?
I'm from the south coast, a small town called Worthing. It's a seaside town. People usually know Brighton, so it's about 20 minutes from Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And let's see, how you doing this morning, Laura?
Doing great. Thank you.
Good. It's what do I want to say today? I don't know what I want to say. It's hot. I don't want to say that, but that's going to be part of my talk today about how we make excuses for things that we don't need to make excuses for, but we do anyway. But anyway, so here we are. A couple things just to know as we're coming down the line, and it's good to have. Just want to say Jeff's back there in the sound booth today. Thank you so much, Jeff, to have you here.
Jeff.
And I want to say hello to our friends up in Oregon. I want to say hello to our friends in Vermont. I want to say hello to our friends in Colorado as well, those that are watching there. So it's good to have you guys here or with that. So two things. One is we have a barbecue coming up on August 10th. And it's going to be good. Lee's going to be doing some music. We're going to have some food, maybe an adult beverage or two, and some other things. So that will be a lot of fun. And you can buy tickets in the gift shop. And by the way, in the gift shop this morning, is the coffee ready for sale? Okay, it could be. So we're experimenting. We are selling this coffee that is a very clean, free range, organic, kind of that kind of thing. Coffee that is just spectacular, and even got me to change the way I make my coffee from a French press to a drip. But anyway, so we have that coffee available for you guys to check out and bring home. It is not what's being served at the end of service. So there's that. So anyway, those kind of things are going on. Also, I'm going to be doing a class on spiritual practices starting in September. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it live or if I'm going to do it online. So your feedback is helpful. I'd either do it like on a Tuesday night on Zoom or a Wednesday night here. So feedback, if you're interested in taking a class, talk to me about that. We'll see what goes on there. And that's kind of it for me. How about you, Lee? What's going on with you? Any places, anything going on?
Yeah, I've got a few things coming up publicly, actually.
Good.
In August. So yeah, I'll be mentioning a few of those, and they're on my website. And just good to be out amongst the people, spreading the music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By the way, that song that you created, that cannot be sung, not cannot be sung here. That's bold. That song that maybe we'll do some Sunday.
Which one? The diss track?
The diss track, yeah.
Oh, you heard it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Disruptive.
It's disruptive, but there's no self-awareness without disruption. So anyway,
One Sunday, man.
maybe some Sunday we'll just disrupt.
Very special.
Yeah, so that's going on. How about you, Laura? What's going on with you?
Oh, the whole summer of performances with my dance students, ages 2 to 92. Literally, I have a 92-year-old performing.
Nice.
And we're just having a great time, just spreading the joy.
Fabulous. Good. So our theme has been freedom for the summer for July, and so we're kind of finishing that up. But really, what the idea of freedom for me comes from is there's no freedom without self-awareness, and there's no self-awareness without disruption. So that has been kind of the theme for the whole month of just how we embrace the disruption in our life. The path of the soul seems to be order, disorder, and reorder. And we see that individually, and we see that collectively. If anybody has been awake for the last 2 weeks, we're very aware of the process of disruption. But as I was talking to a friend of mine today, it's, we trust the long work of God. As Teilhard says, we trust the long work of God. So with that, we will get ready to do our service. So Laura, if you will be so kind as to pray us in.
All right. Hi. Good morning. I'm Reverend Laura DiDonato, your practitioner of the day. And if this is your first time, you are welcome here. Also, I'd like you to turn to the person next to you and wish them a good morning.
Thank you. It's so lovely. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, thank you. It's nice to be here. Good morning. Good morning.
All right, let's get our 2 feet settled, grounded on the ground. Our posture nice and tall. Our breath nice and deep. I recognize the divine Mother, Father, God, the divine spiritual power in all things. We are one with this power of love, joy, peace. And I speak my word for everyone. I let my ego step aside, releasing all fears, worry, doubt, anxiety. And I open my thoughts to unlimited possibilities. I open my mind to conscious communication. I listen with my ears to spiritual guidance. Loud and clear, I hear. And I open my heart to this beautiful morning with all the beautiful souls here this morning. I open my heart to the divine, beautiful gift of Reverend Dr. Guy and his insightful message. And also the beautiful music of Lee and Lauren Grace. What a gift. I release these truths into divine law, and together we say, and so it is. I get all teary-eyed when my eyes are closed when I'm communicating. So when I open my eyes, I'm like, I can't see. So this morning's quote is by Herbert Hoover. Freedom is the open window through which pours the sunlight of the human spirit and human dignity. And that reminded me of all the countries and cultures that are not allowed to have the human spirit and human dignity flow. So I am so grateful. And now we move into a 3-minute contemplation with each exhale, releasing the old, with each inhale, rising up our vibration by using our thoughts through joy, through happiness, through peace. And as we communicate, we also listen. And now, with a nice deep breath, we move into contemplation. As we return to this moment, we recognize, together we say, and so it is.
Lead me, love, lead me on. When I'm weary, make me strong. Lead me, love, help me grow. Lead me, love, lead me home. Lead me, love, lead me on. When I'm weary, make me strong. Lead me, love, help me grow. Lead me, love, lead me home. Lead me, love, lead me on. I am ready, I am strong. Lead me, love, watch me grow. Lead me, love, I am home. Lead me, love, lead me on. I am ready, I am strong, I am strong. Lead me, love, watch me grow. Lead me, love, I am home. I am home.
What a treat, huh? And what a beautiful image. Lead me home. Because isn't that something that is alive in all of us? Is that that navigation of the soul that is always looking for that sense of where do I rest? Where do I unplug? Where do I feel like I belong? And really, when we think about who we are as a species, we are our most human when we are in relationship. And home is that sense of where it is safe to be who we are. It has always been my intention that the Hilltop Center becomes a spiritual home, a place where we love people into wholeness, where there's that sense of whoever you are, wherever you are, however you washed up on the shore, you're welcome. You're welcome here, and it's just more fun with you here. So thank you for that. That's such a beautiful reminder. And I was, this week I was kind of thinking about, my mind was all over the place, as I'm sure all of yours have been with the last 2 weeks, order, disorder, reorder. This idea that we're not totally free until we're totally self-aware or self-aware. And we're not really self-aware until we've experienced some kind of disruption in our life. And, some of us become more aware and more aware and more aware as individuals or collectively. And we think, again, these last couple weeks, there are ripples, right? There are sort of ripples in the cosmic weather. And they're inviting us just to sit and how we look with that, how we deal with that. I was thinking about all the books. If I was to make a list of books that have been the most formative, kind of like if you want to know how I think the way I think, it's from these specific books that I have read. And it changes all the time, but there's a couple that are like in the top, maybe 5. Secret Teachings of All Ages, of course, Rituals of High Magic, absolutely, Meditations on the Tarot, and The Ministry for the Future, Kim Stanley Robbins. It's a science fiction book, and it is one of the most remarkable books I have ever read. It creates this idea of a messy utopia. And it begins with a big disruption. It begins with a huge disruption that kills 20 million people, a novel. But how collectively we begin to respond. And so I was thinking about a lot of that this week and thinking, and of course, the thing that was supposed to be the calming factor was the Olympics. It's the Olympics, right? What could go wrong with the Olympics? And I have not been watching the Olympics, to be totally honest, but we were having dinner with some friends and they were talking about the opening ceremony. So I thought, really want to kind of watch the opening ceremony. And it really was amazing. The beauty of the culture of the French people is the French value intellect. They value thinking. They value art. They value philosophy. And they kind of like to disrupt things as a bit. And if you saw the opening ceremonies, they were all of that. There was culture and beauty and remarkable things and things that really apparently challenged people, but apparently challenging them for the wrong things. Because apparently there's one of the things that I've seen is, and I guess they pulled it from a lot of social media, was this scene of what people thought was the Last Supper and were just clutching their pearls and all this hue and cry of mocking God and all this other kind of stuff. Well, it comes to find out it wasn't the Last Supper at all. It was the Feast of Bacchus. And a couple things about that. The painting of the Last Supper is in Italy, not France. And the Greek games, the Olympics are about Greece, Bacchus, and all that other kind of stuff. But what it hit me was this, is how quick we are to respond to a challenge by retreating and closing in. To me, one of my strongest mantras in life is be curious, not judgmental. And it was remarkable to see how this thing went from art to judgment to condemnation to, oh my God, the world is ending and this happened because God is mad at us. And this whole kind of thing that went on. But for myself, 2 things came up to it. One was, it's just amazing to me how much I practice one thing or another, and then something happens, and how quickly it is for me to fall back on something, and then how I have to work myself up. Maybe you do that too. But 2 things kind of came up, and one was something that I talked about last week as a quote from Hannah Arendt about when we live in a world that is surrounded by lies, and we just simply accept the fact that if someone is speaking in the media, if someone is speaking from the realm of politics, if someone is speaking from the realm of possibly culture, but in all these influential, we have just simply accepted the fact that they're lying. And what Hannah Arendt argues about that, it's not so much something that Goebbels says, if you tell a lie long enough, people will start believing the lie. That can happen, and I'm sure people are practicing that. But the other thing is, if we live immersed in the experience of lying, then we learn not to believe anything. And that, I think, is a real affliction on the cultural soul of our country, of the world that we're living in. This growing nihilism of not to believe in anything at all. And that's a dangerous place to be, because it really has sort of a withering effect on the soul. Because if we live somewhat nihilistically, of not believing anything, then we're not really, as the song said, we're not really home. We're sort of a vagabond in this area that we're in. So there's another malady that I think this brings up. And that is in Valentin Tomberg's book, Meditations on the Tarot. He talks about the greatest spiritual malady there is self-complacency. And there's a danger in self-complacency because it causes us to not grow. It causes us to kind of stay stuck with where we are. And I want to hold that thought, because as I'm looking at my notes, what I realize I have not done, and I will get back to my talk, but I want to get back to your assignment from last week. I'm working this. So anybody remember what last week's assignment was? It's kind of go with the talk here. So am I the only one into this? Because I think it's kind of cool. Yeah. Something like that. It's like, what have you, because the assignment was, whatever we touch, we change. And whatever we change, changes us. So what have you touched that has changed? And how has that changed you? What have you touched that has changed? And how has that changed you? Go where you want to go with it. You know, I can think immediately of something, our garden. You know, whatever we put energy into our garden, it changes. It becomes more beautiful, more vibrant, more alive. And when it becomes more vibrant and more alive, we become more vibrant or alive. We're sending our dog Rolo to charm school. And as he takes his lessons, he changes. And as he's changing, it's changing the household. So whatever we're engaged in engages us. Any takers on that? Yes, Karen. Wow. Yes. Wow. Yeah. So if you didn't hear that, she said that she gave some bread at a campground, and a father came up to her and said, "Thank you for feeding my family." Yes. Gary. Exactly. And that's something Dr. Holmes says too, is, he says, we see the condition outside, but we change it on the inside. And yes, go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. The most prosperous people are the most generous people. Absolutely. Yes, Liz. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And again, Ernest Holmes says that too. He says prayer changes us, not God. So let's go back to Karen, and then we'll go to Paul. Yes. That's okay. That's why we're here together. That's why we're here together. Yes, Paul.
My front lawn, it was having like irrigation issues, so like the sprinklers were broken. So I decided to manually water it every single day, and it was so beautiful and green.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Isn't it remarkable? A little water, what it does? Yeah. Anyone else? So it kind of speaks to the thing that I'm talking about, which is this idea of self-complacency. It's all right. Someone else will handle it. I don't need to work about it. I've done my work, whatever the case may be, is, according to Tomberg, the greatest of all spiritual maladies, because that complacency is the antithesis to eros. Eros is the creative presence and power of love. And the universe that we live in, maybe it's different in other universes, but it's true in this universe that what drives everything is desire. And there's sort of this idea in the West, oh, I want to be a Buddhist because Buddhists don't have any desires. Well, think about the Buddha. He desired enlightenment. It's not about having desires. It's about having the right desires. And I'll get into that in just a second. But I think the danger of self-complacency is that if we are complacent, it's difficult for us to truly know ourselves or love ourselves. So I made up a list of, what are my 4 favorite ways that I am self-complacent, or that people can be self-complacent. I don't want to make this personal, but let me make it personal. So I think, and maybe it'll relate to you. So I think one way that we can be self-complacent is, something's talking, doesn't matter. One way that we can be self-complacent is to deny and or avoid what's happening around us, either in our own personal life or collectively. To deny it or pretend it's not happening, or simply to avoid it. It's interesting owning a house these days, because like the air conditioner broke down last week. And you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to call the landlord and say, fix this. And then I realized I'm the landlord. And so fix this, or other things that are kind of going on, or it's not as bad as it is, or maybe I just won't deal with that today, and these things, they never go away. It is the beginning of what I call magical thinking. And magical thinking is somehow or another when we are in some kind of avoidance and then we put a spiritual twist on it. It was meant to be. Oh, God is teaching me a lot. Whatever BS that is. The other one is this. We try to minimize what's going on. We minimize our challenges. It's not that big a deal. I'll get around to it later. I don't really need to deal with that because it's not such a big deal. But the thing of it is it's how we do anything is how we do everything. And so if we are minimizing, that's just a pattern that we are building into. It's a story that we have. It's just another way that we are conditioning ourselves not to live by eros, or the passion of eros. The third one, a personal favorite to me, is we come up with rationalizations as to why things are the way they are. It's this way because, my mother dressed me funny. I had this happen to me then. That happened to me there. I grew up in Southern California. Whatever the story that we tell ourselves, I am, or the conditions in my life are the way they are because of something outside of me that creates these things to be those things of which I pretend I have no control over. By the way, in spiritual language, this is all called living at the effect of the outside. Living at the effect is simply this. It means that my personal well-being is contingent on something outside of myself. And so these ways of self-complacency are ways for me to take my own personal authorship and project it out onto someone or something other than myself and say, see, that's why it is the way that it is. Or, this is my last resort, to blame someone else. Blame someone else. You know, the world is the way that it is because they do that. Or whatever the case may be, it's because they did that. And in all of these, two things happen. One is we outsource the authorship of our life. We say that we don't have what we need or who we are to be who we are. And if something on the outside changes, then we're open to changing on the inside, but we wait for it there. And in the meantime, we come up or we tell stories about why things are the way they are. So, oh, it's my phone that's talking. So I created this. Not the watch. I didn't invent the watch, but there it is. I want to unplug myself. So what do? I buy an iPhone or an iWatch or whatever the hell I have on my hand here. It bugs me. It's really interesting. When I'm meditating, I'll get this signal that says, your heartbeat has dropped precipitously. That's the point. Thank you. So anyway, beyond this idea of self-complacency is really what we're wanting to tap into, which is this idea of eros. Eros is desire. It's that driving force. And every cell in your body is permeated with this. Your subjective being is permeated in this. If you don't believe me, hold your breath and count to 1,000 and see what happens. See how your body will fight against that, because inside of our very being is an eros, is a desire for livingness. And inside of us is this desire for living. So it's not about not desiring, because that's a silly endeavor, because it will never, ever, ever, ever happen unless we numb ourselves, narcotize ourselves. But the other thing is then what do we do with these desires? Well, ancient wisdom says you modify them. You modify. You're never not going to desire. So accept that is the case, and then realize with our own conscious mind that we can direct our own desires and shift them. And then we look at, and that's a whole other talk about why we don't do that. Because the reality is this is something that Dr. Holmes says, is he says, we see the condition on the outside and we change it on the inside. So if we're wanting something different for ourselves or someone else, the very first thing that we do is we engage in a level of self-reflection and ask ourselves and endeavor this. This, by the way, is what's known as the Socratic method, which is the beginning of all philosophy. Because true philosophy doesn't teach us what to think. It teaches us how to think, to watch ourselves. Another way of saying it is that we create within ourselves a crap detector, so that when we are listening or observing, what's the crapola detector saying? Oh, it's at red, huh? Maybe I should pay attention to that. So it's about developing a way of being that allows eros to really move, to create and do and think in such a way that we create the world that we truly desire based on the essence of who we are. And it's something that the ancients knew really well. And one of the things that they suggest is to live a life of virtue. So virtue is an interesting word. It's not a word that's used much these days, tellingly. But what does it mean? What does it mean to live a virtuous life? Well, virtue comes from the Latin word virturi, which means strength. So it's about having a sense of strength, but it's also about conforming or organizing our life around the standard of what is right, what is good, what is true, what is beautiful. And if we go back, I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, of course, of Aristotle, because Aristotle talks about the 4 cardinal virtues. See, I caught you. I knew you were thinking of Aristotle. The 4 cardinal virtues. So the 4 cardinal virtues are this: temperance, fortitude, prudence, justice. Temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice. So I'm using words that have been wordsmithed to probably mean what they don't mean. So I want to explain them a little bit more. Because when you think of temperance, what do you think of? Carrie Nation, breaking up whiskey bottles or whatever. And that's not what it means at all. Temperance is that due restraint upon the affections and passions that allows the body to be tamed and governable, which frees the mind. So it's not about doing without, but it's about not letting these passions run us. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about modifying our desires, because we're gonna have them. We should have them. It's healthy to have them. But we don't want certain things to govern our life that we lose sight of who we are and what we're wanting to do. So it's a practice. It's a practice of being aware. Often, when we practice intemperance, it's not because we like the things we are indulging in, whether that be, shopping, narcotics, spending money, food, fill in the blank. It's not so much that we have an issue with those things, but we really have an issue with discomfort. So if there is an area in your life where you may be feeling somewhat intemperate, I invite you just to consider this. It's not the thing that creates the intemperance, but it's the discomfort that you feel with your own feelings that causes us to be intemperate. Which brings us to the second virtue, fortitude. Another way of describing fortitude is courage. Another way of describing courage is living through the heart, being led by the heart. And it's amazing when we feel that deep sense of love and passion for something, what we are willing to endure and do for that. Think about a mother protecting her children, whatever species you want to. Think about the things that drive you. Think about the times where you just said, I just don't know if I've got it within me to do, but then someone else came to you, maybe your child, your partner, your pet, an ideal, or whatever the case may be, and that fed you. That gave you the strength, the courage to move forward. And then the third virtue is this. It's prudence. I love that word, prudence. So I think the easiest way to define prudence is our present self thinks about what our future self wants to be and organizes itself accordingly. our present self, who I am today, I think, where do I want to be in 5 years? And so what is the prudent line of action? What it also means simply is this, is to study, what does it mean for me to be the kind of person that I want to be? What does it mean for me to do the things that I want to do? What does it mean for me to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish? What does it mean for me to love the way that I want to love? And then how do I practice that? How do I engage that? Because it's not going to just fall out magically. It's going to come from within. How do we tap into that? So we use our conscious mind and our subjective mind. They work together. You know, reason and imagination work simultaneously and tangibly to accomplish those things. And then justice. What does it mean to be just? So my favorite definition of justice comes from Walter Brueggemann, who is a biblical scholar. And he says, justice is this, finding out what belongs to whom and returning it. That's justice, finding out what belongs to whom and returning it. That's justice. So, of course, you know, there's the big picture, but then there's the individual picture. There's us, you know. Where have we experienced injustice in our own life? And where can we restore justice in our own life? What is ours to do? What is it that we take? What has been taken from? And how do we return to the balance, the home of what belongs to who? So here's your assignment for the week. Am I the only one that's into this assignment thing? Okay, good. All right, good, because I'm going to keep it. So here's your assignment for the week. And now I'm looking into the virtual world. Pick a virtue, any virtue, but let it be the 4 cardinal virtues of Aristotle, which are temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice. Pick one virtue and decide to practice that. And then next Sunday, we will come back and share our experiences of what it means to live not in self-complacency, but to live virtuously. Thank you.
So I'm Lauren, as you all know. So you're wondering what this might be. This is a shruti box. You might know a harmonium has keys. This does have keys. You can change the key of it, but it just holds a drone. So what I'm going to invite us to do today is we're going to learn a little chant called Brave Magic. And I think it links into the talk quite nicely. So I love my intuition because it was like, sing this song. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So the lyrics are, the words to this chant are in English. So it's, I'm opening to the mystery, allowing creativity to flow. There's a brave magic in my heart, and I will keep tending to that spark. So I love the temperance and I love courage. So it takes courage to keep showing up for yourself and grounding into your own being and getting to know yourself and trusting your intuition. So I feel like this chant really helps kind of ground that idea. And this is not a didgeridoo. I do not play a didgeridoo, but this is a rain stick. So I just kind of want you to feel into the energy of the rain stick and just notice what it does to your being, your body. You can hear it. I want you to just notice how you feel at the beginning of this experience and how you feel at the end. Just noticing your energy. We're going to simply start with Om, so that's the origin of sound. Om. Nice deep breath into the belly. Om. 2 more times. Om. we'll try this call and response. I am opening to the mystery. I am opening to the mystery, allowing creativity, allowing creativity to flow, to flow. And there is brave magic in my heart. You can hold your heart too. And there is brave magic in my heart. And I will keep tending to that spark. And I will keep tending to that spark. So let's see what we have. I am opening to the mystery, allowing creativity to flow, to flow. And there is brave magic, and there is brave magic in my heart. And I will keep tending to the spark, and I will keep tending to that spark. Okay, let's keep going. I am opening to the mystery, allowing creativity to flow. And there is brave magic in my heart, and I will keep tending to that spark. Let's come back to the arms, holding your heart. Oh. One more. Beautiful. Just noticing how you feel. Yeah, that's all that water in your body just got harmonized. Thank you. You're welcome.
Feels so good. I don't want to disrupt that feeling. Thank you. All right. And now it's time to tend to our community. So let's take that beautiful piece of love on paper and hold it on our hearts. It's time for tithing. As we move into that beautiful light inside, remembering that this is our home, this is our community, and we are welcome to tend to our community through our time, talents, tithing, and treasure. And with this abundance that we have to share, knowing that as we give, it changes us. We are now givers and receivers, knowing that as we give, it makes room for that place to receive. And as our community receives more, we grow. knowing whatever we tend to grows, good or bad. And now, with our growing hearts and minds through love and joy, we gratefully give to this community. I release this prayer with gratitude, and together we say, and so it is.
So thank you again, Lauren, for coming to our center this. I hope you will come back.
I will.
Thank you. Thank you. It was
Yeah.
wonderful having you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Ease and grace. Ease and grace. Very nice.
And thank you, Jeff, for sitting in today and making us all sound good and look good. Appreciate that. And who are our greeters today? Just Matt. Matt was our greeter. Huh? Thank you, Matt. And I see two of the three graces of the gift shop. I see them there, Patty and Noreen. So go buy coffee or other good and cool things. It will be a lot of fun. Andrea, always for all that you do. Lee, just phenomenal. I'm just so grateful that you are here. And for anybody and everybody, the Karen and Bob for the bread, and Mike for the food. Kurt, who's not here, he's in Idaho, Deanna, but just the gratitude for how the feast is set. And if I have forgotten anybody, it's not by intention. It's just kind of like, that's where I am right now. I'm going to get to that because that brings me into prayer. So if your heart has been touched in any way today, please do not leave without the benefit of prayer. And there's a couple things you can do. You can talk to one of the practitioners. You can talk to Liz or Andrea or Paul. And they would be happy to pray with you. But 5 or 10 minutes after service in the Emerson room, Laura will be holding a prayer circle. You can also fill out prayer requests in the back there in the narthex, and we pray with those. We pray on those weekly. So that's also something that you can do. So we are centered in prayer, and so we would love to support you in the idea of prayer. And I think that's that. So we're good. Enjoy this day, the beauty that it is, and all the good that is there. And thank you again. And I'm sure we're treated with a closing song.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
We'll do that. Yeah. It's another easy. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
Thank you,
okay.
Paul, for prayer. Here, I'm praying a lot and talking about prayer. So let us pray. So let us just take this moment to consider. Prayer is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view, says Emerson. So the highest point of view is the greatest truth that there is, the only truth that there is. The greatest truth for each and every person in this room is that they are the beloved. They are seen, they are known, they are loved by that very presence that brings all things into creation. And so this day, may we live in a place of amazement, wonder, and surprise. May we be curious, not judgmental. And may this day expand out to those whom we love and release and receive love from. May the world be a better place for us having come together to sing, to pray, and to share this joy. So it is.
So it is.
Keep open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Easy lyrics. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 again. Aye, 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 aye. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 aye. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 aye. One more time. Aye, 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 aye. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Laura and Grace, everyone.
Thank you. Yay, yay. Yay.